Tom Smith sat at the kitchen table in his cozy home on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon, gazing thoughtfully out the window where the first rays of morning sun pierced through a light haze. The coffee in his cup had long gone cold, but he didn't notice, lost in his thoughts. The morning had started as usual. With a smile, he drove his wife, Emily, to work at the office of a large construction company where she worked as an accountant. Afterward, he dropped off his old Toyota at the auto shop on the other side of town for routine maintenance. The mechanics assured him it would be ready tomorrow, and Tom, taking his time, strolled to work, enjoying the fresh air. He had already warned his boss about being late due to the repair, and the morning in the HR department, where he was the manager, flowed smoothly. But after lunch, an unexpected twist occurred. The office lights flickered and went out due to a power grid failure. Colleagues whispered among themselves until the director, a tall man with graying temples, called in electricians. Shrugging, they promised to fix it no earlier than 8 to 9 p.m. The director, without hesitation, wisely decided to send everyone home. Tom, as a responsible leader, walked through the office, ensuring windows were closed, safes locked, and documents secured. It was Friday, and he had been looking forward to a quiet evening with Emily and their daughter, Laura. Humming a tune, he headed out, his mood light, until his heart sank. In the neighboring yard's parking lot, a black sedan with tinted windows pulled up. Rick Harper's car, Emily's boss. The door opened, and out stepped Emily, clutching a bright paper bag from the mall. Behind her emerged Rick, tall, confident, with his usual smirk. Tom noticed how Emily lightly touched his arm as they exchanged a few words. Rick locked the car, and they disappeared into the building together. Tom froze, feeling blood pound in his temples. Not waiting for Emily to come out, he turned and strode home, where his computer and access to his wife's bank account awaited. Sitting at the desk, he logged in and checked the transaction history. His eyes narrowed. Emily had made purchases at the mall that morning, though she had mentioned over dinner last night that Rick was free this weekend. His wife and 2 kids had gone to her parents in Salem, returning only Sunday evening. Interesting. How will she explain this? He muttered, a cold fury rising within him. He shut down the computer and stared at the wall, trying to figure out his next move. Tom paced the house like a ghost, unable to find peace. The kitchen, bustling with cozy activity just that morning, now felt empty and cold. The clock on the wall ticked with agonizing slowness as he waited for Emily's call. Finally, around 8 p.m., his phone buzzed. Her voice was casual. "Tom, sorry, I stopped by the mall to pick up a few things. I'll be home soon. Keep dinner warm." He silently ended the call, feeling his throat tighten with anger. Emily, hearing the dial tone, frowned. That wasn't like Tom. She redialed, but his phone went straight to voicemail, her anxiety growing. She quickly gathered her shopping bags and headed for the door. In Rick's apartment, where they had spent the last few hours, a warm ambience lingered. He turned on the soft lighting he called intimate and poured 2 glasses of wine. Emily laughed, recounting her workday, but now she was in a hurry to leave. Rick walked her to the door, playfully hugging her goodbye. She pecked him on the cheek, grabbed her bags, and stepped into the darkening street. The 10-minute walk home gave her mind no rest. Why didn't Tom answer? Did something happen? The apartment door creaked as Emily entered, kicking off her shoes in the hallway. "Tom, you home? You won't believe the line at the store," she began cheerfully, unpacking a sweater and shirt she'd bought for him. Tom emerged from the kitchen, his face grim, eyes weary. He looked at her silently, ignoring the gifts, and slowly walked to his office, which he'd set up in the former living room. Emily was taken aback. "Tom, what's wrong?" she called but got no reply. Peeking into the office, she saw him put on headphones and focus on the monitor. Deciding not to push, she tossed the items on the couch in the living room and headed to the bedroom. Switching on the light, Emily froze, staring at her reflection. Her blouse was inside out, seams and tags glaringly obvious. Her heart raced. "How did I not notice?" she whispered, frantically crafting an excuse. "Of course, I tried it on at the store. The clerk mumbled something about the size, and I rushed home." "Yes, that's it," she decided, though her confidence wavered. Meanwhile, Tom sat in his office, clenching his fists. His orderly life with Emily, which he believed was filled with love and understanding, had collapsed in an instant. He recalled how a year ago Emily had insisted on befriending Rick, arranging family get-togethers. Rick seemed the perfect family man with his charming wife and kids, and Tom had never suspected the betrayal lurking behind those smiles. Anger and pain choked him, but Tom, a strong-willed man, chose to avoid a scene. He knew Emily and Rick had studied together at college in Seattle, and now wondered if they'd been involved back then. Her past stories took on new meaning. To calm himself, he turned up the music in his headphones and tried to think rationally. Emily, changing clothes, went to the kitchen, clattering dishes loudly to draw his attention. But Tom didn't emerge. That night, she fell asleep alone, while Tom spent hours in his office, pondering his future. The night stretched endlessly for Tom. He sat in his office, where the soft glow of a lamp cast shadows over old family photos on the wall. Happy moments with Emily and Laura that now felt like lies. The music in his headphones faded into silence, and he could hear Emily's steady breathing from the slightly ajar bedroom door. But sleep eluded him. Thoughts swirled like autumn leaves in the wind. Rage at his wife, the sting of betrayal, and a vague guilt, as if he'd missed some sign. Saturday morning greeted him with pale light seeping through the curtains. He rose, every muscle aching with exhaustion, and shuffled to the kitchen. Emily woke to the sounds from the kitchen and glanced at the clock, smiling. Saturday was her favorite day to linger in bed. Slipping on a robe, she headed to her husband, hoping to ease the tension. "Good morning," she said softly, expecting a response, but Tom only poured himself coffee, avoiding her gaze. She frowned. "Tom, what's wrong? You've been silent all evening. I noticed the blouse yesterday. Maybe I put it on inside out at the store while trying it on. Why didn't you say anything?" Her voice trembled, but Tom finished his coffee, rinsed the cup in the sink, and left for his office without a word. Emily stood frozen, a chill running down her spine. "You know you'll have to talk eventually," she shouted after him, but the door slammed shut. In his office, Tom collapsed into his chair, burying his face in his hands. He realized Emily suspected. Her affair had somehow surfaced, and he knew more than she thought. Their marriage, once solid with rare arguments, was now crumbling. Emily didn't want a divorce. She loved Tom, knowing he was the rock of her life, but her connection with Rick began in college. On their final year, she got pregnant by him, but realizing Rick wasn't ready for family, she chose Tom. Over time, she genuinely fell for him, though Tom's physical resemblance to Rick, both sharing the first blood group, sometimes stirred old memories. Laura, their daughter, had grown up, married, and moved out with her husband, and Tom never doubted his fatherhood. But now, everything had changed. Tom recalled how 2 years ago Emily pushed for a friendship with Rick when he became her boss. Their families met, and Tom even admired Rick's family dynamic. And now, he couldn't forgive the betrayal. Deciding to act, Tom gathered his belongings, clothes, documents, laptop, and moved them to his office, locking the door. Hearing the click of the lock, Emily understood the gravity of the situation. She dialed Rick, her fingers shaking. "We have problems. Tom knows everything," she whispered. Rick groggy mumbled. "What could you have figured out?" He didn't notice for years, and now suddenly? Maybe he's stressed. Emily explained about the blouse, and Tom's silence. "We need to do something before my wife returns Sunday," Rick added, suggesting they probe through Laura. Meanwhile, Tom, leaving Emily in the dark, stepped out, heading toward downtown Portland. He resolved to find a lawyer to end this marriage once and for all. His heart was heavy, but he knew there was no going back to the life he once knew. Tom walked the streets of Portland, where the city's hum blended with the rustle of leaves in the parks. His thoughts were a chaotic mess. Anger at Emily, the pain of betrayal, and a faint desire to start anew battled within him. A cool breeze brushed his face, but it offered no relief. Determined to find a way out, he headed to a law firm recommended by a colleague. The office was small, with wooden paneling and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Attorney Catherine Allen, a middle-aged woman with a warm smile, welcomed him and gestured to a chair. Tom poured out his story, his wife's infidelity, suspicions about his daughter, years of trust shattered in a day. His voice quivered, but he held firm. Catherine listened intently, jotting notes. Are you considering reconciliation? She asked. Tom shook his head. No, I can't live with her. I loved her, but this pain, it's unbearable. The marriage is dead. Catherine nodded, understanding. Then divorce is the best option. Are you still living together? She clarified. Yes, but I avoid contact. I'm afraid my anger might erupt, he admitted. Catherine explained that divorce could be not only an emotional, but also a financial ordeal. They had separate bank accounts, and Tom covered the rent and utilities. Can you manage living like this for 3 to 4 months during the process? She asked. No, I need to leave. Cut all ties, he replied firmly. Catherine suggested taking a leave of absence and finding new lodging. I know someone, Mary Donovan, who rents a room after her divorce. Want me to connect you? She offered. Tom agreed, and Catherine dialed immediately. Mary, it's Catherine. Settled the room rental. I have a man who urgently needs a place. Decent. I hope you'll get along, she said. After a brief chat, she handed Tom an address on the city's outskirts and kept his documents for the divorce filing. Come back Monday with the court fee receipt, and we'll submit the petition, she added. Tom drove to the address. Mary's house was a sturdy 2-story building with a neat fence and a garage, surprising him with its charm. Flowers by the entrance, the scent of freshly mowed grass. Mary, a 35-year-old woman with kind brown eyes, greeted him with a smile. You're from Catherine? I'm Mary. Come in, she said. Tom nodded. Constantine Smith, but call me Tom. They discussed terms. He'd pay for groceries, and Mary would cook. The room with a private entrance and a spacious closet suited him perfectly. Can I move in now? He asked. Mary nodded. Fetching bedding. Why not? Welcome. Meanwhile, Emily paced the house, setting a lavish dinner table in hopes of reconciliation. Tom didn't show, and she called Laura. Sweetie, is your father with you by any chance? She asked. Laura, laughing with her husband Stan over dinner, replied, No, Mom, he hasn't been here. Maybe he's out walking, or went to Rick. Emily paused. To Rick? Why? She wondered. Not sure, but he's furious. What will you do? Laura asked. I'll wait, see what he brings up. Emily sighed. At that moment, Tom settled into his new room, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. Tom woke in Mary's guest room with a strange sense of lightness, as if years of lies and tension had melted away. Morning light streamed through the window, illuminating a simple yet cozy space. A wooden desk, a bed with a soft mattress, and an empty closet ready for his belongings. He washed up, breathing in the fresh air tinged with the scent of herbs from Mary's garden, and descended to the kitchen. Mary was already bustling at the stove, flipping pancakes. Good morning. Sleep well? She asked with a smile. Yes, better than at home, Tom admitted, feeling the warmth of her voice soothe his soul. He shared his plan to quit his job and start fresh. I want a new beginning, he said. Mary nodded, pouring coffee. My brother, Vlad, owns Dream Homes Construction. They need a department head. Want me to call? She suggested. Tom agreed, and soon Vlad, a sturdy man with a confident gaze, arrived to discuss details. Tom, heard about you from Mary. We need someone with your experience. Head of the design department, with SRO certification. Pays better than before, Vlad said. Tom, after some thought, nodded. Give me until Monday to decide. Meanwhile, Emily waited at home for Tom, but he remained absent. She took action, calling Catherine Allen. Where's Tom? I need to talk, she pleaded. Catherine responded coolly. He doesn't want to meet. I relayed your request, but he said you wouldn't like what he has to say. Emily gripped the phone. But I love him. I'll quit, block Rick, live transparently, she exclaimed. Catherine sighed. He's not open to reconciliation. His decision is final. On Monday, Tom paid the court fee and filed for divorce with Catherine. Outside the courthouse, he bumped into Jenny, Rick's wife. Tom, what are you doing here? She asked, surprised. Getting a divorce. Emily cheated with your husband, he said bluntly. Jenny paled. No way. I thought he was faithful, she whispered. He saw them together last Friday. And knows about Laura too, Tom added. Jenny, lips tight, said, I need a lawyer. I'll see Catherine. Catherine, hearing this, agreed to represent Jenny, initiating Rick's divorce. Emily, meanwhile, went to work, where Rick looked defeated. Jenny filed for divorce and alimony. He confessed. Emily was stunned. How did she find out? Rick shrugged. Tom told her. Both realized their secret was exposed. Tom, returning to Mary's, found solace in household chores and chats with her. Laura, learning of the divorce from her father, supported him, though she worried about her mom. Tom awoke to the birdsong outside Mary's window, a sense of new life slowly taking root in his heart. It was Tuesday morning, July 29th, 2025, 9:30 a.m. in Portland, 12:30 p.m. Central European Time across the ocean, where the day marched on. He stretched, inhaling the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting from the kitchen. Mary, in an apron, flipped pancakes, her smile greeting him like a warm sunbeam. "Good morning. Ready for a new day?" she asked. Tom nodded, feeling the simplicity of these moments heal his wounds. "Yes, I think it's time to move forward," he replied, settling at the table. That day, he accepted Vlad's offer and joined Dream Homes as head of the design department. The office was bright, with a view of the Willamette River, and the team welcomed him with enthusiasm. Vlad clapped him on the shoulder. "Glad you're with us. Tomorrow, we start a new project, a cottage community." Tom smiled, feeling purpose for the first time in ages. At home, he helped Mary in the garden, planting roses, their conversations about work and life filling the evenings. A warm friendship blossomed between them, though neither rushed to label him more. Meanwhile, Emily and Rick faced the fallout. The court hearing last Friday was a turning point. Catherine presented a DNA test proving Rick was Laura's biological father. Emily tried to defend herself, claiming the Friday meeting was accidental, but bank statements and work logs contradicted her. She begged the court for a reconciliation chance, but Tom, absent via Catherine, stood firm. Divorce was inevitable. The judge postponed the case, setting a reconciliation period, but Tom had no intention of returning. Jenny, divorced from Rick, secured alimony and moved with her kids to Seattle, supported by her successful businessman father. Rick, jobless and estranged, rented an apartment and tried to connect with Laura, who remained distant. Emily, alone, attempted to win Tom back, passing a letter of apology through Catherine, but he tossed it unread. Laura, learning this, snapped at her mother. "You never loved him. I'm on Dad's side." Emily gave up, realizing her losses. A year passed. Tom and Mary grew closer, their shared life feeling natural. One evening, while gardening, Tom knelt with a ring. "Mary, let's start something new together," he asked, heart pounding. She burst into happy tears. "I thought you'd never ask." They embraced, laughter filling the house. Emily returned to Rick, but their bond was fleeting. Tom found peace, and Mary became his new family. The story ended with new horizons for all.